I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents. It's a special edition of Currents, the biggest celebrations of 2011. First up, we'll take you to Eastern Parkway for a colorful celebration of Caribbean culture.
I feel like it's very nice that the parade is supporting the church. It's very good for the community.
Plus, Brooklyn's Italians celebrate their heritage in a big way on Columbus Day.
It's nice to see the kids getting together, the neighborhood, just everyone sharing a special day.
And it's an annual celebration with a distinctly Chinese flair. It's a parade for Our Lady of Xishan.
Like to know that how Catholic are expanding like everywhere in China and coming over here too. I think that was great.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us on this special edition of Currents as we take a look at Brooklyn's biggest celebrations of 2011. You know, here in the city of churches, it seems there's always a reason to celebrate. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more diverse place than New York City, and tonight we'll prove that no matter what their background, New Yorkers really know how to throw a party. First up, it's a colorful celebration full of music, dancing, and Caribbean delicacies. That's right, we're taking you back to Labor Day and the annual West Indian Day Parade along Eastern Parkway, that is. And for another year, among the masks and masqueraders, you could also be sure to find the Diocese of Brooklyn in full effect, prepared to make the journey from Utica Avenue to Grand Army Plaza, celebrating its diverse Caribbean heritage and also their shared Catholic faith. Evangelization was the order of the day for the diocese as New York's wide-ranging West Indian community bid farewell to the summer of 2011 with the wave of a flag.
This is kind of a very cultural but essentially Catholic celebration. The music from the Caribbean is used to praise the Lord. The eternal message permeates the culture of the various people.
We've always had the Mass. I think this was a celebration that started many years back. And when I arrived at the diocese, I thought it would be a good idea to view the parade. And then as I viewed the parade, I thought it's better that we march in the parade. And that's how we got to be a marching part of the parade.
Eastern Parkway and Utica Avenue seems to be the crossroads of the West Indian community of New York City. So, and this is the place where the parade starts. So we're right here, right at the beginning of the parade. Jesus tells us to go out into the deep and throw our nets. And the deep symbolizes for me the unknown and everything that is not of the good news.
Certainly there's lots of things in the parade that are not according to Catholic thought. And we think it's better to be part and to bless than to stand on the side and condemn.
Carnival has also some Catholic history behind it. Like you see the parade, so it's the combination of Catholic, Indian, and African culture. It's like the combination of the mundane and the sacred. So it's part of the Black spirituality.
We're here to celebrate Jesus. Let the people know our culture. It's not only of, the nakedness on the street and whatnot. It's about Jesus Christ. This is God, the Word of God.
I just love the parade to come out and show my Catholic faith. It is strong, it is powerful, and it is very uplifting to each and every one.
For me, this is so exciting because, as we said, the Lord could work miracles, and there are so many people that the lives that Jesus could touch today.
Just the sense of spirituality for the people that are still religious and they want to see a part of them there. God is everywhere, so I guess they might as well be everywhere with him. Spread the word, right?
Yeah, I asked for some rosary beads. I feel like it's very nice that the parade is supporting the church. It's very good for the community. They're part of the community that we all live in, and it helps us see that everything we do involves church. Everything we do in our daily life involves church.
I am Catholic also, and I was aware that they were coming through, and it's always nice to see them every year, participating, and the crowd receives them very well.
Seems like they're very well received there amongst all those colorful costumes, or I guess lack thereof in some cases. But you know, as I said in there, it's you know, better to be a part of and blessed than to stand on the sidelines, point fingers, and condemn. Well, there's more of this celebratory episode of Currents coming up. When we do come back, we'll take you across the pond for a celebration the whole world, including Brooklyn and Queens, was watching. Welcome back to this special edition of Currents. I'm Matt McClure. Tonight we're taking a look at some of the biggest celebrations of 2011 here in the Diocese of Brooklyn and beyond. And next up, we're going to actually go way beyond. In fact, we're going across the pond to England and what was definitely one of the most spectacular events of the year. It was a wedding, but definitely not just an ordinary wedding. I'm sure you figured out by now I'm referring to the marriage of Prince William to Kate Middleton. Yeah, millions around the world tuned in to watch the ceremony with all of its pomp and circumstance, and not to mention the now famous dress. But as CNN's Elizabeth Corridon reports, the royal fascination did not stop when the couple said, "I do."
Late last year, they announced their engagement, sending the world into a royal wedding tizzy. Prince William and longtime love Catherine Middleton's wedding was the most talked about social event of 2011. Not since William's mother and father married 3 decades earlier had there been so much buzz about royal nuptials.
And I would imagine even the most cynical among us, surely, when you see a couple exchanging their wedding vows, your heart does melt a little bit.
After months of top-secret planning, the invitations were mailed, the details finalized, and the big day arrived. On April 29th, hundreds of millions of people paused to watch a real-life fairy tale. But before the bride and groom said "I do," the wedding's most closely guarded secret was revealed. The future Duchess of Cambridge arrived at Westminster Abbey in an Alexander McQueen gown designed by Sarah Burton. She topped off the custom-made wedding dress with a tiara, loaned to her by the Queen.
The dress was beautiful. It's all about the dress, all about Kate. Wonderful.
Approximately 1,900 guests were invited to the church for the main ceremony. William and Kate exchanged vows in a traditional service, but the kiss would wait. The couple emerged, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and took a carriage ride along the crowd-packed streets to Buckingham Palace. They walked out onto the balcony to a roaring applause from the crowd below. Then they shared their first kiss as husband and wife, sealing their fate as one of the most talked-about couples of 2011. After a honeymoon in the Seychelles, William and Catherine embarked on a North American tour. They touched down in Canada in late June.
The geography of Canada is unsurpassed and is famous for being matched only by the hospitality of its peoples.
The royal couple immersed in Canadian traditions. They showed off their competitive side in a boat race, even took in a rodeo. Then it was off to Los Angeles, where the Duke and Duchess attended a gala evening in honor of British entertainers. William played in a celebrity polo match. But it wasn't all whining, dining, and celebrities. They finished their tour in one of LA's most low-income neighborhoods, visiting with children at an art center. William and Catherine returned to Britain and their quiet everyday lives, but that didn't put an end to the public fascination. Hundreds of thousands of people visited Buckingham Palace to get an up-close look at the Duchess of Cambridge's now iconic gown, and to feel just a little bit closer to the royal couple.
There you go, and that's one big party. I told you we were going to show you some big celebrations this year. That was one that had the whole world watching. And there's more Currents coming up. You know, if there's one thing that Italians in Brooklyn and Queens know how to do, it is celebrate. And we'll show you a couple of examples next. Welcome back. If you know anything about New York, you certainly know how much of an influence Italian culture has had on this great city. From the food to the music, everyone here has been touched by Italian tradition in some way. Well, for one day in October, everyone in the city actually became Italian. Not literally, but figuratively, of course. I'm talking about Columbus Day. Yeah, Italian pride was on full display in Brooklyn as the annual Columbus Day Parade marched up Cristoforo Colombo Boulevard in Bensonhurst. Marching bands, colorful costumes, and people young and old took to the streets to join in the fun. And we headed to St. Athanasius Parish where the celebration kicked off with a mass.
Columbus was not just an explorer. He was not just a discoverer. But on those 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, he brought with him friars, Franciscan priests, bringing the faith to the Americas. We're having a great celebration here in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn for Christopher Columbus. And the Italian Federation puts this great parade together and mass this morning as we begin our celebration. This neighborhood is filled with many Italian Americans. Italian Americans have this celebration of Columbus Day every year throughout the United States. And in this little local community of Bensonhurst, this celebration is really the focus of the work of the Italian community here.
I'm the community superintendent of schools, so I will tell you that Federation has fostered that collaboration and they model that throughout the community. So I think it's a good way to bring all of our diversity together.
It's just nice to see the kids getting together, the neighborhood, you know, just everyone sharing a special day. Well, it's nice to see neighborhood unity and just family fun.
Tell you about Columbus. He discovered the ocean blue, 1492. I kind of think he's a bad guy just because Native Americans were here first and then he just conquered their land. And we say that he's the one who really discovered it, but Native Americans discovered this land. So I do like Columbus Day, and marching band, we are required to be in this parade. I'd still march in it, but yeah.
Throughout history, we've had much tragedy, and some of the discovery of Christopher Columbus resulted in that. But you'd have to measure where we are today and the progress that we've made for all people.
Well, the Italian American community, as all other communities, should celebrate who they are. And I believe very, very strongly that Columbus, and particularly the parade that we have in Brooklyn, is such a celebration of pride, a celebration of achievement, a celebration that we need to share not only among ourselves, but with all other faiths and all other groups.
A lot of fun on the streets of Brooklyn there, but you know, Columbus Day is not the only time of the year when Italians celebrate their traditions. Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Williamsburg, Brooklyn is probably best known throughout the diocese for its annual Dance of the Giglio celebration, and this summer was no exception to that uniquely Italian tradition. Just a few days later, though, the church held a truly multicultural celebration to coincide with the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Now, in the heat of July, right here in the City of Immigrants, it seemed as if people from all corners of the world gathered in Williamsburg to celebrate Our Lady, and we were there for the Mass and procession through the streets.
She continually brings us countless graces, and that is why we are here today, to obtain through Mary's intercession under the tide of Our Lady of Mount Carmel the graces we need to do what is necessary in our own lives. Well, Lady of Mount Carmel is a wonderful devotion to Our Lady. It's a very ancient one. It comes right from the Old Testament, from the Mount Carmel, where Elijah was the prophet, and where Elijah prophesied for God, and where hermits started to live. And we know that she was revealed to St. Simon Stock in the 16th century and promised that those who would wear the scapular would be saved from final damnation if they were faithful to her devotion, if they were living a good life, and if they wore the scapular at all times. Either as a medal or as cloth, it is a sign of the promises that Mary made to St. Simon Stock, that those who would wear this wonderful garment would be preserved from eternal damnation.
The parish is named after Our Lady under the title of Mount Carmel, so we spend this day with several masses, inviting the faithful to come and rejoice in who we are and in all the good that God's done for us through the Blessed Mother. And then we take that to the streets. There are so many people who'd like to be with us who can't because they're shut in because of age, or who just couldn't come out because of the weather. So once we've celebrated the Eucharist at the table, we go out into the streets and we just bring a message of the joy that the Blessed Mother brings to the people of the neighborhood.
I've been going every year. I never miss it. I miss 1 year, but I've been coming here every year.
My mother made a vow that when my brothers were born, both brothers passed away. My mother says, keep my next boy healthy, and I'll walk in the feast every year on your feast day.
It's a festival, it's a neighborhood thing, it's a real New York thing. You don't get that in Colorado.
It was wonderful that Bishop DiMarzio chose to walk the procession this year instead of riding on the float, because that gave him the opportunity to go right up to the homes and right up to some of these people that were coming out to greet us. These are people who normally would have come to the church, but either because of age or sickness or because they have newborn children in the house, they just didn't want to take the trip out. So we bring the statue of the Blessed Mother to those who can't come to her in pilgrimage.
We remember Our Lady today, and we ask her to intercede for us, to obtain the forgiveness of our sins, to obtain the graces we need, to obtain the healing that some of us need for physical and also psychological difficulties. Mary is powerful. We honor her, and we ask her intercession, we, her children, who need her so much.
Gotta love it. The one lady there said you don't get that in Colorado. That's very true. There's more Currents coming up. We'll celebrate the diversity of the Diocese of Brooklyn by taking you to 2 local celebrations with roots on different sides of the globe. Stay with us. Well, we wrap up the show tonight with a couple of celebrations with their origins on opposite sides of the globe. First, get out your green clothes and your bagpipes for a party straight from the Emerald Isle. And no, I'm not talking about St. Patrick's Day, although you would be forgiven if you made that mistake. Now, this was actually in September, 6 months removed from the day the whole world goes green. MCU Park on Coney Island was the place to be for a celebration of all things Irish. It was the 30th annual Great Irish Fair, as a matter of fact. And the fair had 2 purposes: to celebrate the Irish culture, of course, and also to benefit Catholic schools in Brooklyn and Queens.
We gather here, as we've done for the past 30 years, on the fairgrounds of Coney Island to celebrate Irish culture, to celebrate our Irish Catholic faith, to come together as a community, enjoy one another's company, and enjoy whoever else wants to participate.
Well, it's actually great to celebrate the Irish. You know, many of our parishes, if you take a look at them in Brooklyn and Queens, they were built by the Irish immigrants. And so they really laid the cornerstone and literally built our churches. And so it's great to celebrate them and all that they've contributed.
The Calling Queen is like, you represent basically everything that's going on today at the fair, especially Irish culture, and really just be a role model to people. Oh, I was shocked to find out that I was the Calling Queen. But when I found out, of course, I was thrilled and happy to be chosen to represent.
It was started 30 years ago, right here in Coney Island by some dedicated folks, volunteers. And over the course of its history, all the proceeds have been donated to various charities, including Brooklyn Queens Catholic Charities and now the Brooklyn Queens Diocesan Schools.
Many of the scholarships that we are a part of go to minority children, the children and families that are in such great need today. And we feel it's our rightful place to provide those scholarships where many of our people before us benefited.
Well, it's important to keep our schools open. As you know, as the enrollment declines, we need more and more children to stay in our schools and not leave our schools, because then the costs go up and then the school is in jeopardy of closing.
The qualities of the people that we honored are obviously leaders in our community, people that are dedicated and committed to service. You see that in the civil servants in the fire department, the police department. Many years we've had honorees from education, primarily Catholic education.
To receive the award today was a great honor. I've actually been attending this fair for many years, at least 15 years I've been coming here, and Timmy Stackpole, the Memorial Award, whose award I received, was a good friend of mine, and he perished on 9/11, and to receive an award with his name on it was a fantastic honor for me.
I was dumbfounded. I was like, I got the award in memory of Father Michael Judge, a Franciscan who was killed in 9/11 and the buildings came down. And I just thought of Michael Judge. I said, I can't hold his sandals that he would wear. And who am I to be honored with an award in his name? It was very humbling, extremely humbling.
The Irish tradition continues. It will continue for decades and generations to come. We'd also like them to enjoy the music that we provide, the dancing, the entertainment, the rides for the kids, the food. It really is a great time, and it's very much a family-friendly event. We pride ourselves on that. We all have young children, and we're happy to bring them down each year and to allow them to experience it for themselves.
Gotta love all that green. Well, finally tonight, the first day of May each year is a day when many churches celebrate the crowning of the Virgin Mary inside their parishes. But the Chinese Apostolate and the Diocese of Brooklyn decided to celebrate Mary in a very special and public way. They took to the streets for a celebration of Our Lady of Xishan. Now, traditionally, pilgrims would travel to Xishan in China during the month of May, but this year it was Xishan who came to the pilgrims.
My dear brothers and sisters, we have gathered here in joy for the solemn blessing of the image of the Blessed Virgin Mary, under the title of Our Lady of Xishan.
Today we have the procession of Our Lady of Xishan, just as we see Mary as the mother of all peoples. She's the mother of the Chinese people. The Xishan is the only basilica in China that is outside of Shanghai. It's over 100, almost 150 years old. It was built to honor Our Lady. I just got an email, one of our priests who is in China, saying that his bishop was detained because he mentioned to the people that the Vatican had issued a statement on the relationship between the church and China. I think eventually, and as communism gives way to more freedom, the problems that plague the church today will be eliminated. I'm really happy to be with the Chinese people today in this wonderful procession.
I actually didn't know about Xishan until, they sent over the statue. Like, to know that how Catholic are expanding like everywhere in China and coming over here too. I think that was great. My family was always Catholic. I mean, I was born a Catholic. My parents, they did immigrate here from Taiwan. I was walking around during the parade, and some guy asked me if this was like a Buddhist thing. Like, aren't Chinese people usually Buddhists? And I told him we were Catholic. I just pray that everyone finds out about God and Jesus, and I hope I see it expanding, so I know that's good, And sometimes I pray that it expands more.
I've actually been in this church for about 21 years, for my whole life. So, it's kind of cool to see the whole church grow and have a whole bunch of different communities. It's actually great. I'm happy that the Chinese community came here a while ago and, shared their experience with the Catholic religion. This is the first time I actually processed, and it was interesting seeing all the people on the sidewalks, coming out of their apartments on their balconies, looking outside their windows like, oh, what's this going on? And, they get a little taste of what, Our Lady of Xishan is about, a little bit about the Catholic faith. There's a whole bunch of different religions that are watching us process. I'm glad I actually did it this year. I think I will definitely be here next year.
I love that. I mean, you know, we often talk about the diversity of Brooklyn and Queens and New York as a whole. We really showed it to you tonight. We had the West Indian Parade. We had Our Lady of Shushan, which we just showed you there. A very Chinese celebration, but you saw all ethnicities involved. We had Italian celebrations. We had Irish celebrations on the show tonight. That is really what it's all about. And we thank you for joining us here for this special edition of Currents. And, you know, we were glad we could show all of that diversity to you right here tonight. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look back at some of the best celebrations of 2011. And until next time, be sure to visit us online over at currentsny.net. You can go there to watch selected reports and full broadcasts of the show. You can also friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter as well. We are at CurrentsNY. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Matt McClure. Thanks so much for watching and have a great night.